bounds.
So welcome to the new video. This one will be over a topic that Carlos Davis chose in the comments of one of the last videos, and he wanted to know a little bit about, or my opinion on, intermittent fasting. And I want to thank Carlos first for actually leaving a comment and just giving a little to the channel, and I appreciate that. And I'm going to leave a link to his Facebook, his group, and his Instagram page in the description. And if any of you guys have any questions also, just leave it in the comments or another topic and we'll cover it. So first, let's cover what it actually is. So intermittent fasting is an umbrella term, basically. This term is used to describe anything from eating for 8 hours a day, and then the rest of the day you're just either drinking water or something that doesn't have calories for the most part. Or it's just a term to describe having designated periods of time for either eating or fasting, basically. That's what it is. There's no time period really laid out for it. So in all the studies, there are different periods also. A lot of them aren't even that long of a study because there's going to be side effects to fasting. One, which is really obvious, is going to be hunger. If you eat for, let's say, 8 hours a day, the other 16 hours of the day and you're fasting, let's say maybe 8 of that's sleeping, so you have another 8 hours of your day that you're awake, and your body's gonna be craving more energy while you're actually burning it. So yeah, hunger is gonna be one of the big ones. So if you're brand new to dieting or just eating healthy, I wouldn't recommend it, but that's just my opinion. But I'll go through a couple of the benefits that we're seeing in studies and just talk about those. So a lot of the benefits that you'll read on the internet will say it helps with a number of things like weight loss. The one thing with weight loss you have to remember is weight. It doesn't indicate whether it's muscle or fat or even water weight. And if you actually start cutting calories enough and become less active, bone loss is actually an option also, which you don't want. And yeah, just when someone says weight loss, you have to look more into the study just to figure out what the body comp of the subjects were first, and then to figure out whether they actually reached your goal, whether it's changing the body composition to a better body fat percentile, or if you're just going for overall weight loss. So you have to look into that stuff also. But some of the benefits that they claimed were it improves your hormones and cell function. And the hormones that a lot of the studies focused on was insulin, which when you do have a lot of carbs all at one spot, your insulin's going to spike, and then the rest of the time it's going to lower, which will make it that your body will become more insulin sensitive. So once you're done with your fasting and you have another carb, most likely you want to do it around your workout. Either before, you want to have it before and after your workouts is when you want the most of your carbs. And then the other hormone that they looked at was human growth hormone. There wasn't a lot to that one. Let's go through the insulin one first. So one study showed that humans showed an increase in fat oxidation, which just comes with lower insulin levels. So your body's going to be burning more of the fat, transporting it for the fuel. And that's what you want, but the effect that it actually had, you had to go in quite a bit of a deficit first, and then the subjects were going through, it looks like 16 hours of fasting, so it was the 8 hours eating, 16 hours of fasting. I'll leave that study in the description also. And then another study that actually covered the human growth hormone. This study showed the effect of a 2-day long fasting on the hormone, which 2 days of fasting isn't going to be much. So if it's your first time trying it, why not? But this study did show that it did cause an increase in growth hormone release, and that's all because the hormone that it actually stimulated was a precursor to it. It stimulated an increase in growth human releasing hormone, which actually causes your body to release more human growth hormone. And the one thing is, it increased it of the precursor, but it didn't cause a significant change in the actual human growth hormone. Let's see. One of the other side effects, or not effects, benefits that intermittent fasting, it helps fat loss. And they claim especially belly fat. I wasn't able to locate any actual study claiming the abdominal fat loss. One, our bodies are, you can't spot reduce for body fat. You have to put your body into a state of deficit, of a breakdown, and then your body will pick and choose the different areas that you'll lose fat. Most likely, it's weird to say women, breasts and butt. Men, you see it a lot in the face very first. Hands. The body usually goes from extremities to the core, and that's a survival technique for our body for the most part, because our body will do that with heat also. And this claim usually for the fat loss, and especially the belly fat, is almost complete bro science. There was a 4-day study, which once again, 4 days of a study, not that many subjects. The study isn't that credible. That's another thing you have to look into when you look at these studies. But this study showed an increase in metabolic rate due to an increase in norepinephrine. They did not look into the effects of the actual body comp. So you're going to get an increase of norepinephrine. Also, most people call it just adrenaline, which will increase your metabolic rate, your metabolism, and make it that you can burn more calories. But it's going to be for a very short period of time. So it's more beneficial just to have your body in a state of deficit and not have to do it along with a fasting. If you are in a deficit and you want to boost your metabolism, taking a number of different supplements can help. Simple things as green tea can help. Caffeine can help rev up your metabolism for a short period of time. There's a number of them. Research it, or I can do another video over that one again too. And then one of the other ones, I did already state how it helps with insulin sensitivity, which will help lower your risk of type 2 diabetes. And this one, there's a lot of studies on it, and it's proven. By fasting, your insulin levels will lower, which will make it that your cells will become less resistant to insulin, which will allow your body to take in more carbohydrates, glucose from the bloodstream, making it that you don't have a high blood glucose level, making it that you're not going to have type 2 diabetes. That's type 2 diabetes, not type 1. There's a huge difference, just stating that. And then that was one study, and it showed, there's so many of them. If you just Google it, you'll find one. In a sports nutrition perspective, by making your muscle cells especially, more insulin sensitive, it'll make it that you're going to get a lot more out of it. Insulin's a huge hormone that bodybuilders, physique, anyone that lifts or trains that wants to put on muscle, insulin's going to be one of the huge anabolic ones. So you're going to want your body to react properly to insulin, just because if it's not, you're going to get this insulin into your body. It's going to cause a number of different harmful effects. If you look up type 2 diabetes and then look at all the risks of it and everything, you'll know how dangerous it can be to have that disease. But yeah, just by making it that your body is more insulin sensitive, you're gonna make it that you're gonna see a lot more gains with it. And even if you don't fast, you can create your body to be more insulin sensitive by just making it that you ingest carbs at 3 times a day. You want to have it with breakfast, just because while you're sleeping, your cortisol levels will increase, and by ingesting some carbs along with protein especially, you will lower those levels again, place your body into a state that it can be anabolic again. And then you want to ingest carbs, complex carbs, an hour to 2 hours prior to training, and then you want simple carbohydrates right after training, with your post-workout shake within 30 minutes of your workout, and then you want to eat another actual whole meal and have that be within an hour to 2 hours after your training. The sooner the better for the most part. But overall, this fad diet, it's gonna be one that's designed for a sedentary person, just because they're not gonna need as many calories. They don't need all the extra nutrients. Plus, it's gonna help them put them in a state of deficit, because they are a lot less active than a lot of us that go to the gym, go on runs, do whatever physical activity that we do. Since they're not doing a lot, their metabolism is going to be lower, which by just causing this, placing their body into a state of deficit is going to be huge for them. But there's not a lot of sports nutrition aspect in this whole fasting, just because not a lot of people, if you're trying to build muscle, you don't want to go and make your body have to take in all these nutrients, all these macronutrients in a small amount of time. If you're cutting, you can use it, but you can use a larger period of time. Let's say 12 hours. Because if you wake up and you have a 12-hour period and then you sleep for 8 hours, you have a 4-hour period that you're going to be awake that you don't eat. And you just drink water, which is not going to be difficult for most. You can do simple stuff like drinking colder water, and it'll make you feel fuller while you're fasting. But I wouldn't recommend this for anyone that's anyone that's trying to build muscle. This is strictly going to be a diet that if you're going to want to cut, and you're going to have to make sure that you're hitting all your macronutrients if you're trying to cut just fat, because your body's going to burn off muscle way before it's going to burn off fat. And that's just because it takes a lot more oxygen to cause lipolysis, the breakdown of fat. So it's going to take a lot more of your energy for your body to break down fat, especially since fat is our reserves for the most part. Our body will burn our carbs first, whether it's glucose that's in our bloodstream, use that as fuel, or break down glycogen and produce glucose from that. That's another thing with this fasting. If you're extremely active, your glycogen levels are going to go way down. It's going to make it that your training is going to be subpar. You're not going to get as much out of it, I guess. Yeah, just overall, I usually don't recommend this. If you want to do two 2 days every week or something of it, just to get that little bit of a spike in your human releasing growth hormone, whatever that was. Just get a little of a increase of that. It also helps with insulin sensitivity. So if you are feeling like you are becoming more resistant to your food, try this, see how it feels. You're probably going to feel a little bit better since your body's going to have to adjust, and then you'll go back to what you were regularly doing, and your body's going to enjoy that a lot more because you're going to get a lot more of the nutrients spread out instead of all at once. Overall, this diet is going to be an extremely difficult one. It's a risky one too at times, because you are going to be placing your body at a point that it's going to start looking for calories. Whether it burns fat to get protein in your system, or it's going to burn your glycogen, of course. Another couple of the things that the studies did show was there were joint problems with some of the candidates that went for longer periods of time, and bone loss, because if you're not getting enough calcium in your system, whether it's from milk or just supplements in general, your body's going to break down bone. And that's first year biology. Overall, if you're going to do this, I'd always recommend to have either your BCAAs or your EAAs, just so that you're having a steady flow of amino acids to help maintain your muscle mass. If not, you're probably going to see a lower in your muscle mass, which will give a negative effect. If you're trying to burn off fat, and you're burning off muscle also, your body fat is not going to change for the most part. You may actually see your body fat go up as your total weight goes down, which just proves that your body is burning off the muscle. And that's just not what we want either. Overall, if fat loss is your goal, I'd recommend either carb cycling, trying a higher protein diet, and making it that you ingest carbs at those 3 times that I said earlier in the video. And then there's actually a couple of studies that showed that by having a high protein diet while cutting, so high protein diet while having low carbs, let's say. This study showed real well. It actually showed that people were either increasing muscle mass or maintaining while they were losing body fat. And they did that all by making it that they were ingesting 1.5 grams per body weight. And that's per body weight because these were active individuals. A lot of people use the lean mass, 1 gram per lean mass. You can do that, but for an active individual, for an athlete, the numbers are going to be really close. Plus, if you're as active as an athlete is, let's say a college football player, they're going to need a lot more carbs, a lot more protein in their diet. So I usually go off the 1.5 grams per body weight. And then they kept their fats at a range of 25% to a high of 35%, and these fats were healthy fats. So they weren't greasy fast food type. So they had that, and then they kept their carbs. They limited their carbs to those 3 times. And yeah, the study showed that they were losing fat and either maintaining or a slight increase in muscle mass, which when you're cutting, that's a huge thing. It may not sound like it is, but it is. But that's how I feel, and those are the studies that I saw that were somewhat credible for intermittent fasting. So hopefully you like this video. I'm definitely going to be doing a couple more research videos like this later on. leave a topic in the comments below that you want to cover, a question, suggestion, what you'd like to see in the show, anything like that. And once again, thank you, Carlos Davis, for leaving a comment and suggesting this topic. It was pretty fun to look into the different studies, just because this is what my degree is going to be over, and I got 2 weeks left of my internship, and I have my degree. And yeah, this is what I really got into it for. I like doing the research. I actually do studies on myself also. So I will track everything down to the gram that I ingest, and I'll slowly change it over time just to see the different effects. But yeah, once again, this was MLB Fitness. Make sure to subscribe and leave comments below. And I'll definitely give shout outs to everyone that does. Alright, thank you.